windsurfing in Maui for a while. Maybe you can recognize some of the faces.
See,
Uh,
yeah.
Let
No,
me
you
you
guys are
see.
all
can
so
raise your
small.
hand. But Gadi, can you raise your hand so we can?
Where is Gadi? Oh, I see
Where is
Gadi. Where
Gadi?
is Gadi?
Gadi, here's
Oh, there he is
Gadi,
down
yeah.
there. Yeah. You know
Okay.
what? The faces are really small, so it's hard to see everybody. But hey, Gadi, how are you?
They are all muted, so
Oh, they're
we can
muted.
do a nice and quiet chat.
Oh, okay,
If we
okay.
unmute everybody, it's gonna be a
Yeah,
mess.
okay. So everybody's muted right now. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. Well, I hope everyone's doing good. And Gadi, good to see you again. I hope to see you back in Maui soon at some point.
Yeah.
Obviously not now due to COVID, but hopefully by I don't know what the middle of next year, hopefully things will be better. Huh?
Okay. Um, uh, just a second, one recording please on speaker view, so it'll be easier later to watch
Yeah,
the
great.
recording. Okay.
Amit, the recording on the speaker view, and let's start.
Okay. So Jason, thanks again. How this time with the pandemic finds you now in Maui?
Yeah, obviously, the mainland is pretty bad. There's a lot of really serious cases, and the US, I think, actually has, I think, the highest number of deaths and cases worldwide. But here on Maui, we've been pretty fortunate. The cases are pretty low. Honolulu has, some reasonable cases, but Maui, we've been really lucky. We're really fortunate here to be on the island in that little bubble. The state and the county have been pretty diligent with management to keep everyone safe. I mean, the population here on Maui is only like 100,000. So with all the tourists gone, it's pretty easy to manage. So we've been very lucky.
Okay. And for the windsurfing and surfing, is it good? Is it
Yeah,
is it
it's good
better?
because nobody's here. It's perfect.
I'm here.
Yeah. But
I managed to do it.
yeah, but no, it's yeah, places around Maui that usually are busy with tourists. It's just empty. I mean, for example, we went swimming the other day in Honolulu Bay. That's on the west side of Maui. It's a famous surfing spot, and we were snorkeling in the lagoon and like in the inside there, and it was just full of fish. The wildlife has come
Mhm.
back because there's just no one around. It was incredible. It was like being on like a National Geographic, and so a lot of stuff like this around Maui is happening, because there's just no one around. So it's good to get uncrowded waves. Keeper's been good, like not too many people. So yeah, for that kind of thing, it's been good, But obviously, Maui relies on tourism, and the economy here is really bad, and a lot of people have lost their jobs. Unfortunately, a lot of people had to go back to the mainland. All the hotels here are closed, and the sporting places. So yeah, it's been unfortunate. Maui has been very hard hit.
Okay. We all hope for better days, of course.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background? How did you started windsurfing? You're from Australia originally, so how did you get to Hawaii? Um, a little
Yeah,
bit
I
about your way.
basically, yeah, I started in Australia, basically just through a friend of mine. Who was the same age as me. We were about 12 or 13 years old, and his parents were like windsurfers and stuff like that. I was coming from a motocross background. Yeah, as a small boy, I was racing motorbikes a lot, so I didn't really have any idea about the beach or the water and stuff. And so my parents used to play with my friend's parents. So of a afternoon, I'd go down the beach and just kind of sit there and do nothing, and watch him out in the water. They were windsurfing and doing some Hobie cat racing. So I just sort of picked it up from there. I got an interest with that. I stopped motorbike riding. And then, I saw the guys jumping. I think that was really the biggest turning point was watching some of the windsurfers back then doing the wave jumping. There wasn't really forward loops back then. but it just looked really spectacular. So I had an idea from riding motocross, the jumping, the same feeling. So I thought, oh, that looks cool. So then, I tried that and then never looked back. That was it. I was hooked.
So, and how long are you in Maui? When did you move to Maui?
I moved to Maui probably when I was about 20, but I was never a resident or a citizen of Hawaii. Oh, sorry, of the US. So I was always traveling around the world circuit. So just recently, about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I got citizenship and residency here. So now I pay taxes here in the US, and I basically moved from Australia to Hawaii. So now I'm here full time. I base myself out of here, and so it's good. Maui's a great place. It's Australia where I live too is good. We have good conditions down there, but as I get older, I tend to enjoy the warm waters here. In Australia, where I live in the southeast, it gets really cold in the winter. So it's just nice to have good weather all year round and be completely spoiled.
Yes, but it's still one of the most famous beaches in Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, where I grew up. Yeah, right. It's a place called Torquay. It's where they have the WSL surfing contest every year. It's called Bells Beach. I don't know if you guys out there have heard of Bells Beach, but yeah. So that's where I grew up. So that it was in a very obviously surfing orientated place. So learning how to windsurf. I was growing up and learning in pretty good sized waves. So coming to Maui for the first time when I was about maybe 14 or 15, it was a pretty easy step to get into the waves here and stuff like that, because Australia has similar waves. So it was a good transition.
All right, and you're very famous for the extreme windsurfing, extreme jumping, wave riding, whatever it is.
Snowboarding. Yeah, we saw you.
Have you ever been into the extreme? You all started from the extreme, or you?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, no, I think I just. Yeah, no, I think it's from the beginning. I think it was maybe my parents' fault, because as a small boy, they got me on the motorbike, and I was racing motocross by the age of 6 years age. All around Australia. We were racing full time, and be doing the competitions, and I think from a young age you just learn to be more aggressive, and you want to do good, you want to win, you want to compete against the other kids. So I think from that age I always had like a good inclination to always want to compete and win and push and do extreme stuff like you said. So it's just always been part of me since I was a little boy.
And you still have it. I mean, after all those years, you still have the passion for the extreme and to compete and to be better and better.
Yeah, not so much the competing anymore, to be honest. I enjoy competing, but that's sort of I just enjoy finding really good waves, big waves, just really clean waves. So, for me, I'm not really interested, even though it's amazing to watch, like the storm chase.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Like, it's great to see it every year, but that's not really me. So I'm more just like looking for the big, perfect wave. I guess you could say that in a sentence. And that if that's, Fiji or Tahiti or Australia or
Jaws.
Wherever, Jaws, then that's where, I want to be. Nazare was interesting, I wouldn't really call Nazare a great wave, but it was super scary, a very dangerous place. But it was good to go there and do that. But I think at me, I'm just looking to have fun. I don't need to push myself to, you see a lot of guys nowadays in the sports, they're pushing so hard to make money, and they're willing to, kill themselves in, these crazy conditions. So, I'm not really there, but I definitely like to push my own boundary, but and just find that perfect wave. So I haven't really lost the love for that. It's just it's the best feeling in the world when you get that perfect ride, that perfect wave. Yeah, and which I'm always looking for at George. So we had a good day there actually about two weeks ago. We had George. Yeah, it was fun. So hopefully it's going to be a good winter to get some waves.
Yeah, I sent the guys your picture with Kai Lenny.
Oh, with Kai, yeah. Kai Lenny was killing. He's doing so good now.
Great.
He was killing it that day. He's
Yeah, he
catching great
started
waves.
paddling in and then towing.
So yeah, that's what he usually does. Yeah, he's got so much energy, that guy. Huh? He goes from
But you went
5:30 in the
also
morning.
together with Kai, and you went with the Brasilio.
Sharing
You
some
love
waves.
the.
Yeah, it's good to share some waves with some friends. And whenever Kai is towing in, he's always sort of looking for me, to share a couple of waves, I think. It's fun. It's good fun.
Okay, and you said something about fear. Do you have any of those fears?
Oh,
or,
no, definitely. Yeah, no, it's just about managing the fear. I mean, whenever we first arrive at Jaws, for example, you always get nervous, yeah, and you just sort of, we try to start slow and kind of build up the confidence, and as you build up the confidence, you can get more and more crazy. I try to push it as much as I can. Always having that feeling of the fear. I think it's good to have it. Otherwise, if you don't have any fear, I think you'll end up maybe injuring yourself or doing something bad. So I think it's a good mix to have some sense of fear.
Interesting. Can you describe or tell us about the experience of riding these big giant waves, like when the wave is double overhead or even more? And how is it feel? I mean, do you have any thoughts on that time?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like that's the one thing I love the most is dropping down the face of the wave, especially. How can I explain it? It's like, especially when there's a huge wall in front of you. So there's two places in the world that really make a really great feeling for me on a big wave, and that's Jaws, and the other one is Fiji in Cloudbreak. Mm-hmm. So these waves, they kind of bend in. It's hard to explain. Like, so they push in on themselves. So even though you think it's going to close out, it kind of comes in on itself, and it doesn't close out. And you can get, when you're dropping in, and you're looking down the line, you're on this huge wall, like
that's not breaking.
Yeah, that's not breaking, just a wall, and it's super, super tall, obviously, yeah. And that feeling of just committing so deep, and that's the best feeling I think that I like. It's just it's an incredible feeling to see the power of the nature and it being so deep. It's hard to explain. I'm trying to compare it maybe to something you guys, I don't know, like, it's hard to explain, going super fast in a car or something, or just, it's just, it's a really good feeling. But then it's even a better feeling when you have the confidence, So, like I was saying to you earlier, when you build up slowly, you get more confident as the day goes on, and then, by the middle of the day or the end of the day, you're really starting to put yourself in a more dangerous position. But you have the confidence, and then I think the confidence, and then having that feeling of the adrenaline, but with confidence and with a little bit of fear too, is a really cool feeling.
But maybe you can share with us a moment that you were telling yourself, "Why am I doing this to myself?" Like.
Yeah, I had I think a couple of years ago, it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago now, I had a pretty bad wipeout at Jaws. And it was before the CO2, nowadays the surface, we can pull the CO2 jacket and it inflates. So this was before that. So I had a wipeout at Jaws, and I had a jacket, but it got ripped off. The wave pushed it off. So I was down for 3 waves. I was down for a little over a minute 10 actually. They got it recorded. And so and I came up and I was almost drowned. I blacked out, and at that point I was saying to myself, man, is it worth it? But to that point it's probably not worth it, but pretty close to it's worth it, because it's such a great feeling. It's hard, like I said, it's hard to explain to you guys the feeling of this to get this perfect ride. It's just, it's very addicting. It's all I can say. I've been doing it since I was a kid. The reason why I moved to Maui was because of Jaws. I think that was the first time I windsurfed Jaws was maybe 1994, something like that. And from that day, I was like, okay, I want to be here every winter at this place, waiting for that
Good
wave because
time.
it's just spectacular. There's no, I mean, there's lots of amazing waves around the world, but nothing compares to like when Jaws is really good. There's nothing that compares. Not even close.
All right.
Yeah, I can tell that the
actually,
experience from the cliff is like
pretty sick.
crazy.
Yeah,
When
it's
you
sick.
guys are going down a huge wave, the cliff is like shouting. Like a stadium.
Yeah, we can sometimes hear.
Yeah, you
from
can
the
hear
cliff.
it.
Yeah, we see all the people lined up there, but it's cool.
Yeah.
and you had some injuries in the past, right? Some bad injuries.
Yeah, I've sustained mainly from motocross actually. Like because I was always motorbike riding after I stopped. So even though I was windsurfing professionally, I was still motorbike riding here in Maui or in Los Angeles or around. So most of my injuries over the last, let's say, 20 years were, I would say 70 to 80% were motorbike related. So the injuries I've had from windsurfing have been more like ligament damage, like ankles, knee, maybe a shoulder, stuff like that. Broken bones were from the motorbikes. Like kneecap, foot, wrist, stuff like that. So I'd say, the motorcycles have caused me the most body damage.
You're still doing it?
No, not right now. No.
All right. And how do you keep in shape nowadays? I mean, you grow
just doing a
older
lot of
little bit.
sports. Yeah, I mean, I go to the gym most days. Like usually in the morning, I'll do gym. I do a little bit of yoga. Like maybe 3 to 4 days a week, I do some yoga, which is the stretching, which I think is important when you get as old as I am now.
How old are you?
And 49.
Okay.
And then but really the sports, like between the windsurfing, the surfing, like toe surfing and regular surfing, the foiling now, we foil a lot now. Between doing all these sports, mountain bike riding, there's some great mountain bike riding here in Maui. So between all these 4 sports, it's pretty easy to stay in shape.
All right. So before like Jaws session, do you have any specific preparation physically or mentally, or are you just ready whenever it comes?
Usually we see the forecast and we try to get the equipment ready. We might do some extra training, like for the lungs and things like that. If you're confident in your equipment, then you're confident in the water. So, we just try to spend as much time to dial in the right fins and the boards and get everything set up perfectly so you know that you're prepared as much as you can. Unfortunately, we only get maybe 3 or 4 days a year at Jaws, if we're lucky, So it's really hard to do any sort of development, with the board because we get like 1 day and then the next day might not be for 2 months. So it's a little tough to dial in the right equipment. But we just do our best year to year, stuff, so it's good.
I remember from one of your first movies that you were saying that doing a double forward loop, it's not that difficult. I mean, you just need to drive quite fast and get the right wave, and you just jump and you do the double forward.
I don't know if I think that anymore. Hey, when I see Brozinho doing it, he does it. He makes it look like
so easy,
like a drive, and it looks very easy. But when I was younger, I was doing a lot of doubles and stuff like that. But I haven't done a double loop in 10 years. So I think if I tried to do it now, I'd probably kill myself.
Doesn't worth it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stick to the waves. Yeah, I
big
stick to the
waves.
waves. But it is, and look, watching the guys doing it in Gran Canaria and places like this, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Some questions maybe about the commercial side of the windsurfing. What is your part or your position in JP? Is it your company?
No. So I sold 50% of the company. I sold the first 50% of the company a long time ago, like maybe 16, 17 years ago. And then about 10 years ago, I sold, or yeah, maybe no, not 10, maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I sold the last 50%. So now I'm just a regular, paid rider, just like everybody else, so that's it. Yeah, I don't really have any influence with the graphics. I help out on some board design for the wakeboards, but that's as far as it goes for me. So which is good. I don't really want to spend too much time doing business. I'd rather just be on the water having fun and doing what I love. So it was good to sell the business and give it to people that knew how to run the business properly, So, obviously, Neil Pride took over, and then more recently, JP actually, and Neil Pride have been sold again, to German-based company. So we're in new hands now, as of about a year now. So we'll see how things go.
So you prefer to be like living the dream of being a free surfer than being a businessman of windsurfing?
Yeah, I think, I don't really, exactly. I don't really have any interest to be, running around. I know like guys like, Francisco Goya.
He's so busy.
He's very busy, very like a businessman, with the windsurfing, but I don't think he has much time. I never see him on the water anymore. Actually, he just got back last week. Yeah, I haven't seen him for five nothing.
That's the only time I saw him.
Yeah, but I mean, he's doing good. But for me, that's not really me.
All right.
I heard you can decide like the day after to jump on a plane and go snowboarding.
Yeah. I'm getting old. I gotta have fun while I can. So I want to open up my schedule to do anything I can. So like you were saying, if it's a good snow, there's some snow somewhere that's good, or every year we go mountain bike riding in Canada. Some of the big downhill parks we go to every year. So I'm just sort of trying to enjoy, the mountain bike riding, the snowboarding, the windsurfing, the surfing, as much as I can over the next, however long I have.
We have some questions from on the chat.
Yeah, you
box.
can look here.
Yeah.
I will show him the questions in English, guys.
Some of the questions you already answered, but
how long can you hold your breath?
Okay, so that's a good one. A lot of people ask me that question. It's not really about how long you can hold your breath for, which is really important. It's how to make your mind relax when you're getting a wipeout, and even more importantly than relaxing is to not. I guess is not panic. Because as you know, when your heart rate is going up, you burn the CO2 in your blood like super quick, like 10 seconds. So if you can hold your breath in a bathtub for 5 minutes, it doesn't mean that you can go to Jaws and get a wipeout. So many people think they can, and then they get into a situation where they have a wipeout and they start swimming like this, and even though they can hold their breath, their heart rate is up, so they're just gonna. They go through their oxygen in like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and they're already out of breath. So it's obviously it's good to hold your breath, but the main training is to be able to relax and not swim, and understand that the wave is going to churn you, and just to like literally put your arms like on your shoulders like this, or under here, like under your legs, and just sort of roll with the ocean and try and relax, and not extend your arm. As soon as you put your arm out, you're burning a lot of oxygen. So the best thing is to know when to start swimming. So that there's a time when you're wiping out, and you're getting rolled, it kind of stops, and then you can just feel that moment. Okay, now I can start paddling. Most people, 99% of people will just start doing this, like trying to get up, and they'll just keep doing this until they get up. So, that's the trick. So, I haven't really done like a continuous, like a static breath hold, but I think the last time was like, it wasn't that much. It was like 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes or something like that. It wasn't, I mean, some of the guys hold their breath for 5 minutes.
Wow.
So I'm like a 3 to 3.5 minute guy. But then you put me in a bad situation and, you know, I'll be a lot better than most guys.
Yeah. A lot of experience needed, huh?
Yeah, it's just experience. And, you know, they do the pool training, like where and they're kind of a bit silly, I think, to be honest, you know, where they simulate. So you go into a pool and then your friend, like, you know, tips you around, you know, like in all these directions.
Okay.
But it still doesn't really simulate like a real problem that you might have in the ocean. So the best advice I can give you guys for breath holding and stuff is to start small, like at your local beach. And you know, and just I mean, you don't have to wipe out on purpose, but just, you know, start small and wipe out in some small waves, and just even on a small wave, just try and relax for like 5 seconds before you start swimming. And then, you know, you get a bigger day and then you can do it again. You know, just try and not to swim crazy for a little bit, and just learn how to roll with the ocean, you know, and learn when you should start swimming. And it's just practice. So that's the best advice I can give someone that's wanting to, you know, get into the bigger waves.
Yeah, very interesting.
I'm gonna start working on it this winter.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, some questions about the moves, the wave riding moves.
Yeah.
The top
You're
turns,
vertical off the lip.
Yeah.
So you want to know about that vertical? Yeah, I think this vertical off the lip. I think the biggest thing I can give people advice who want to, you know, get pretty vertical or have is the speed. Everything is speed. So I think the most important thing is the bottom turn. So most people that are medium windsurfers, you know, not experts, they're bottom turning quite slow, you know, but they're wanting to get vertical. You know, they're wanting to get from the bottom turn up like this. And so what happens most of the time is they get to this vertical position,
no speed,
and then they don't have any speed, and then they kind of do this kind of weird turn, and then they fall over with the lip and then crash and burn. You know, so the biggest advice I give someone is speed. So if you've got a lot of speed coming off the top, you can project, you know, off the lip and out, you know, and do an aerial, or you just need a lot of speed to be able to get away from the wave or to hit the wave. You need speed. So my advice is to practice the bottom turns, practice bottom turn really like with speed, you know, lean that mast forward. Don't kind of stand up and lean back on the back strap. Kind of try and use that front foot strap as much as you can to keep your speed. And you'll find that when you get up to that wave and you have speed, you know, you can change to a more vertical, or you can start cutting back early. You have all these options. So I think that's the key element. And, you know, when you watch the really good guys going vertical, you know, you see how much speed they have off the bottom, you know. So when they hit that lip vertically, they can just project another way, you know, and they've got that, like you know, that equal opposite action. Like when you drop a rock and it hits the ground, you know, they've got this
energy.
Pop, energy, exactly. So you need to create that energy if you want to go really vertical, you know. Just practice, right, obviously.
And do you find any difference between the new kinds of boards with the multi-fin, the thruster, the quads, the single fin?
Yeah,
do you have any?
I like. Yeah, I like the quad. I like the thruster. I ride quads. They're pretty good. Quads are good at when the boards are going very fast. You know, like
also.
Yeah, because windsurfers are generally going pretty fast. You know, like if you watch the surfers at Jaws and stuff and big waves, most of them are using the quads. That's because they're creating all this speed. Well, windsurfers are going probably almost that speed, you know, a lot of times. So the quads seem to work well, and I like the thrusters. I haven't used a single fin in a long time, but at the moment, you know, at the moment I'm using the quads.
Before the next question from the chats, do you see what do you think about this new developments in water sports, like the wing foiling, the foil? How do you find it, and how do you see the future, if you have any mind about that?
Yeah, no, I really enjoy the foiling. I mean, here in Maui, especially, it's a great place to do the foiling. We have a lot of outer reefs. So it's really easy to get these long rides. And then, you know, the downwind foiling, we we have lots of great winding conditions, so the downwind foiling is very good here. So yeah, I've been foiling for a lot. I've been foiling a lot, and I find it really fun. I haven't actually done the wing foiling yet. I've just done all like prone stuff and behind the jet ski and things like that. So, but I think the foiling is really good, and I've seen the guys on the windsurfers and on the wings doing it. It looks pretty fun.
Do you think it can go extreme like windsurf? I saw a guy out there at Jaws with the wing foil.
Yeah, I mean, not really. I mean, it looks a little silly.
Yeah.
I think there were last time he was talking about at Jaws. We had a guy on a. Actually, it was Zane Schweitzer.
Right,
Yeah.
Schweitzer.
He was on the wing and on the foil at Jaws, and and it's it was good for a picture, but as far as performance, it
took him ages to take the way.
It's pretty terrible. I mean, look, those wings, they generate a lot of speed. These wings are not really made for high performance stuff, like big bottom turns, big cutbacks, going fast. They're made for small waves. So my opinion on that sort of thing is not so good. I think it looks pretty shit. But
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, but for small waves, it's just for look someone who's needs to make money from the sport of the water sports. Okay, I can see the stuff to get some pictures, and other people might look at this and go, oh wow, look at that guy, on a big wave, but really it looks pretty bad. To be honest, but as far as the small waves and everything, I mean, I think the sport is awesome. Like when on the days when it's kind of a little too small or shitty to surf, the foiling it's just perfect. You can go out and have a great time, and it's super fun. You get these really long rides. It's easy. So on the days when you bring your stuff down to the beach and you can't really do too much, if you have a foil or a wing in the car, you can just you can still go out and have fun and go back to work on Monday and get a great workout. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, of course. There's another question. How did you meet Werner Nebel? What is this question?
Yeah, this is that's the board shaper for JP.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
We met him like many years ago. It was actually. I mean, it was a long time ago, even back to the days when, like, I switched from F2 to JP. I mean, we had Richard Green. He was the first guy that was shaping for JP. And then after Richard Green, then Werner came onto the scene. And I met him basically through the marketing manager at the time, Martin Branner, who is an awesome guy, good friend of mine, and I just love him so much. He was just an awesome guy, and he introduced me to Werner, and Werner's just an amazing shaper. He's awesome and really nice guy, and just hard worker, and
he's still shaping the boards.
Still shaping the boards for us, and yeah, he's just an awesome guy, and he's just amazing at what he does, and very very lucky to have him as a shaper for JP for sure.
Interesting. I didn't know that. What else we have?
Maybe one or two last questions because your time is.
Yeah, I can stay a little bit longer.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
10 minutes.
Okay.
10 minutes, awesome.
10 minutes.
I saw one question about your favorite move, your favorite trick.
Yeah, I think my favorite move would just be, it's not really a move. I think I just like the really nice classic cutback. I'm always looking for that really high speed, full rail on a really big, perfect like vertical wave, really powerful like full rail cutback. When I can get a really good one of those, that's everything for me. I can if I get one really really good turn off the top, that'll be good for me for like 2 weeks. Just one turn. It's kind of like that, with surfing and stuff. Like we do these windsurfing trips overseas to like Tahiti or Fiji, and and sometimes we go for these big wave travel stories, and we don't get. I mean, it's just shit. Like we have to work so hard just to get one wave. But if we can get just one wave, like so many times I've had trips where I just got one wave, but it was a really good wave, and it was worth all the plane trips, all the hassles, all the expenditure, just one wave. So for me, if I can just get one sick wave, I'm totally fine. And it's the same with snowboarding, like you have a shitty day snowboarding, and then you'll get this one perfect ride, you
Slope,
know, where you,
like
it's got
powder.
the powder, you find the powder, and you get a couple of great turns. And then for me, it was worth all the trip. So yeah, for me, it's just the one big cutback, you know, wherever it is around the world.
All right. So, do you ever have a bad day? I mean, bad session. You went out
Oh
windsurfing
yeah,
and
yeah. I
yeah,
just had one
and
of those recently.
disappointed.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Like I haven't been windsurfing much the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
My father was sick, and I had an injury, and I wasn't windsurfing much. The last maybe 3 months, I've been back in the water
Mm-hmm.
most days as a keeper. And so I'm just sort of starting to get into it, and I've had some horrendous stuff where I'm embarrassed to even be out there. So, but the same thing, you know, I'll have a really bad day where I'm out there for 2 or 3 hours, and I'll get like 1 or 2 good turns, and I'm still happy with that. You know, I'd like to do better, but you know, for right now, it's just you're just going to take, you know, have the positive in the little things. So. But yeah, the worst days I have out there is when you break down. You know, I think, especially as a keeper, you go out there and you'll break a boom, and you'll come in, you'll break a mast, and you just can't do anything right the whole day. So yeah, we have those days, but then, you know, I think it's good to have those days, because then when you get a good day, you're so appreciative. You know, you're like, it just stokes you out. You know, so it's good to have the ups and downs.
Hmm. There's a question about perforations between starboard tack
Yeah,
and float
this one.
for wave riding.
Yep. Yeah, you know, I'm a goofy foot surfer. So for me, port tack is a little easier. I like port tack just as much as I like starboard tack on the waves. I'm probably a little bit better on starboard tack, but as far as the jumping side, I'm terrible on port tack. I can't even do a backflip on port tack. No, I can, but I mean, I'm really bad. So the wave riding, I don't mind. The jumping, it really affects me.
We can arrange you a clinic in Israel.
I need a clinic in Israel. Is it port tack or starboard tack out there?
It's sport tack.
Mostly
now
it's
in,
sport tack.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
This is
jumping,
the good waves.
and jumping, yeah, in good waves.
The waves are, I would say, more for
It's a
riding.
stormy waves.
Stormy, yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, but the direction is normally side to side on, so it's better for riding than for jumping. But some days are good for jumping as well. But it's not as good as in the Canaries.
The Canary
Islands.
That's cool. That's cool that you guys.
But the invitation for the clinic is open.
Yeah.
So
you guys will come and teach me how to jump in Israel.
Did you do yourself any teaching or clinics or?
No, I think I would be a very bad teacher. You know, I don't know. I don't think you want me teaching anything.
All right, this is something.
I'm gonna take some of your tips.
Yeah.
For the next few days.
Yeah, tips is not teaching, but still, yeah. If somebody asks you on the beach for a tip, can you like feel comfortable?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, depending on what it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people come up and ask me questions all the time. I'm happy to give as much, you know, feedback as I can, and you know, but I know like Matt and Kevin Pritchard, you know, Levi, you know, and Brazil, you know, they do the surf camps here in Maui and stuff like that. So yeah, they've got some really good instructions and things like that. And they're quite good.
And how is it the relations between the windsurfers, the famous? I mean, for us, for a guy like me who've never been to Maui, it's like legends that I remember from my childhood. And you live all there. How is the relations? I mean,
yeah, everyone gets along really good. There's no ill feeling between any of the riders. I don't think it's. I mean, all the top guys, we all get along really good, and everyone's super friendly. And you know, I mean, the sport of windsurfing, you know, it's not. You know, it's got to the point where you know, maybe back in the day, maybe 20 years ago, everyone, you know, there was maybe that the fastest boards, and everyone was secretive. But you know, now with windsurfing, you know, the sport has gone down. You know, there's not that pressure, I think. So everyone's very relaxed here. Everybody's good friends. Everyone shares, you know, the board designs and things like that. It's really good. Yeah, everyone's super good. And the really good guys, like the top guys, are super humble. You know, like Brasilio and Levi and all these guys. There, you wouldn't even know they're the best guys. You know, they're super humble.
That's so nice to hear that. I mean, for us also in Israel, I think the windsurfing community is very friendly and supporting. So it's
Yeah,
nice
that's
to
how it
know
should
that
be. That's how it should be.
even in the top level, it's still like this. It's
Yeah.
very good to know that.
Yeah, that's good. That's a
It's
good thing.
inspiring, I would say.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. That's how it should be.
Yeah. Maybe one of the last questions. Do you use production boards or custom boards?
I have a bit of both, but on the good days, I'm using a custom board. But the production board, we just did the photo shoot for the 2021 production board, and I was using it for the last 3 weeks, and it was really good, like as good as my custom board. So yeah, and that's the one good thing about the development, I think, over the last 10 years. You know, like I remember 10 or 15 years ago, the production boards were never, there's no way you could ride a production board in a contest.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I mean, maybe three quarters of the professional fleet in the tour, they ride production boards because they're just as good as their custom boards. Yeah, it's crazy.
And the testing of the boards, do you do it in Maui or use also in other?
Yeah, Maui, South Africa. There's a little bit done in Germany because we have some of the rides in Germany and France. So Germany, France, South Africa, here, Maui.
So it's diverse. Okay.
Yes.
I think.
Last question. How are you gonna celebrate Christmas?
Oh yeah, Christmas this year, just quiet. I mean, yeah, just a couple of friends and just take it easy. I mean, like I said, the COVID here is pretty good.
Yeah.
But we still want to try and be respectful, you know, that it doesn't get out of control. Actually, the last 2 weeks here in Hawaii, there's been a lot of tourists. Huh? You notice that? Like there's the roads are getting busy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just feel and see it when I'm on the roads that there's a lot of tourists here now. So obviously they've all been tested and everything like that, but you know, we still got to take precautions and be as safe as we can. So I'll just be spending a Christmas just with maybe like 3 or 4 people, just low key. Hopefully Santa will give me lots of presents.
Like a big swell.
Like a big swell, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I get a question from Gadi about the sharks. About the sharks in Maui now. What's happening?
Yeah, we had a couple of attacks. The recent one was at Honolulu Bay, just a few weeks ago. A surfer got hit. Yeah, it was really unfortunate. I don't have an answer to that. Yeah, like I told you when I was actually just swimming there. Like I told you guys, 30 minutes ago, I was actually snorkeling in Honolulu Bay with. I mean, it was like I just said, it was like National Geographic. There was so many, there was thousands of fish in the water. There were onos, like as long as me, chasing these bait fish. I had like the bait fish going around my body, just like in National Geographic here when you see the whales come up.
Yeah.
You know, I swear to God, it was just like that. Wow. And so I think my point is that I think the sharks were coming in because they could see there was a lot of the bait fish were in the Honolulu Bay. And unfortunately, this guy just got hit out of the blue. I think it was a tiger shark. As Gadi said, you know, there seems to be more attacks now, just popping up. Maybe if we had one every few years, now there's only 1 or 2 a year. I don't know why that's happening. You know, maybe some of the fish. There's less fish out in the open ocean because of the fishing vessels and things like that. So they're coming closer to shore. It could be a number of factors, but I mean, there's really nothing we can do. You know, it's just, you know, unfortunately, this guy, he was a local guy. He lived in Lahaina, and he just
surfed every day
there, and just, you know, at the end of the day, it's just going to get unlucky. You know, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And it's like having a car accident. You know, you can be driving, and all of a sudden, a guy comes onto your lane, and you have a hit on, and you're dead. You know, it's just, I think it's like that. It's just going to get unlucky. You know, so unfortunately.
Yeah.
unfortunately it happened, and I don't know. Which, you know, I mean, it's not going to stop us from not going in the water, but you know, hopefully it won't happen again for a while.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Thank you very much, Jason Polakow. I think for sharing the big wave experience. I mean, we felt the fear without being in the water.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I'd like to
really
thank everyone
didn't-
for tuning in.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for the tip. It was really interesting. We can take some tips and use them. And really, thanks again. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate
Really-
everyone. See you guys later. Yeah?
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Eyal
Cheers.
Shelef
Cheers.
saying hello.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can open the mics, Amit, if you want, so everybody can say goodbye. And
Somebody
thank you so
knows you.
much, Jason. And I also want to thank Guy that.
Oh, Guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Guy got this going. My friend. He's a landscape guy. He lives in Maui. He called me and said that you were interested, and Guy's a good friend of mine. He's a super nice guy. So I was like, oh yeah, sure. You know, I'll do this. You know, and then I met you, and so I'm happy that you guys logged in, and you know, happy that we've got some good windsurfers down in Israel, and hopefully you guys can maybe one day come to Maui, and you know, I'll be here. You know, can come and tap me on the shoulder and say hi, and we'll have a chat.
Great.
All right. Guy and me grew up on the same place.
Yeah, same
Oh, you
kibbutz.
did?
Yeah, they grew up the
Yeah.
same kibbutz.
That's awesome.
Right next to.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I keep telling Guy, I'm like, Guy, you know, he works so hard. I keep saying, hey man, have you been did you get in the water today? He's like, no, I didn't make it. He's been like that for like 2 months. And in his defense, I've been making him do too much work, you know.
Yeah.
So I got to get him some new equipment and get him on the water.
We surfed this morning together.
Oh, you
so,
did?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
really,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, he's a super nice guy.
He's great. He's the best. Yeah. So take care, guys, everybody. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you very much. Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
very much.
Take care.
Appreciate
Merry
it.
Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
אוקיי, עמית, אתה יכול לפתוח את המיקרופונים לכולם?
כן, כולם פתוחים.
כולם פתוחים, אפשר לדבר, תשתדלו להיות בסביבה שקטה, אפשר לכתוב לו הודעות בצ'אט, הודעות תודה בצ'אט, מורן יוכל להראות לו את זה אחרי זה או לשלוח. אז בבקשה לכתוב בצ'אט הודעות תודה לג'ייסון, באמת, אני לא יודע.
לא הבנתי, מי זה עם הזקן שישב ליד ג'ייסון?
זה המתורגמן.